and welcome to this Lighthouse Church podcast, where you can catch up on our talks from Sunday gatherings. We're a church at East Lothian, seeking to follow Jesus, build community, and make a difference.
Hello again. I would just love to bring a wee Christmas thought, though my son did rinse me quite a lot for putting the word "we" in the title. So I promise it won't be that long. Christmas traditions, we have a few of them, don't we? I wonder if any of your houses look a little bit like this right now. You know, you've got the tree and the lights. Maybe you've got the stockings. Traditionally, we hang them on the fireplace, don't we? Elf on the shelf. That's another Christmas tradition that I've had to get into. I have to confess, I'm a bit of a middle-aged knackered mother at 10 p.m. and I'm running around the house looking for like Cheerios and loo roll and things like that. It's a little bit ridiculous. Elf on the shelf, that's a tradition. And then, of course, there is the controversial battle of traditions. Okay, so we're going to play a little game just here. I'm going to have a little cheer for the one that you most resonate with, okay? Are you ready? Okay, so the first one is, of course, do you have turkey or do you have something else? Now, there are a few families I've spoken to that are having Chinese on Christmas Day. I'm like, you do you, okay? But I know where I stand. So give me a cheer if you are of the Christmas turkey variety. Okay, and give me a cheer if you are of the something else variety. Wow. Guys, I think the something else has had it. I was not expecting that. Genuinely. Okay, right, the next one. Christmas pudding or chocolate Yule log. Okay, the third option, of course, is both, please. But I'm not giving you that this evening. You have to choose. So give me a cheer if you are with Christmas pudding. Okay, and give me a cheer if is that a boo at the back there? Okay, interesting. And then give me a cheer if you're of the chocolate Yule log. The Yule log has it. Okay, and then growing up, this was quite a big one in my house because I have two younger brothers who are enormous. Okay, they're both over 6 foot. Do you on Christmas morning have lots of breakfast or no breakfast so that you've got enough room for your turkey dinner? Okay. So give me a cheer if on Christmas morning you have breakfast. Give me a cheer if you're very sad and don't have any breakfast. Okay. Nobody wanted to own up to that after I said it was very sad. I think that's what went on here. Okay. Well, thank you for joining in with the Christmas tradition shout-outs. One of our family traditions is to have what we call a Jessie tree. It's basically just a bunch of twigs that we bring in from the garden. And over December through Advent, we remember someone from the Bible and we retell their story. And for each story, we have a little character that we hang on the twigs. So by the time you get to Christmas Day, it's like you have this whole genealogy family tree of Jesus. We call it a Jessie tree. And one of the things that I really love about the Jessie tree personally is that it reminds me that the story of the Bible is not a story of heroes and villains, but of ordinary people like you and like me. It's not black and white, it's much more grey and complex than I think sometimes we would like it to be. The genealogy of Jesus, the family tree of Jesus, is full of people who had jobs and lost jobs, people who had great relationships and people who frankly really stuffed them up, yeah? People who were cruel and people who were kind. There are moments of great justice and moments of great injustice. There's everything there in the story. Ordinary people like you and like me. And in the passage that Douglas read for us earlier, it says that the people walking in darkness have seen a great light. A bit like that candle in the dark. And these are the people from Scripture that I've been talking about. Ordinary people. And so my question is, why were they walking in darkness? And this is really poetic language. It's ancient writing. As Douglas said, it was written maybe 500 to 700 years before Jesus came on the scene. And the language of light breaking into darkness likely addressed to people really shaken by threats of war and political instability. I don't know, does that sound familiar to anybody here? Just a little bit, doesn't it? Perhaps not so much immediately in this country, but certainly globally. We've seen a lot of that this year. And these words from Isaiah address a common human experience. And if you're an ordinary person, which I think probably most of us here are, maybe you can resonate with this, that darkness happens. And it happens to ordinary people like us. There's no escaping the normal human experience of suffering, is there? Despite our best efforts. And perhaps for you simply that will be when you do your big Christmas shop next week, there will be no sprouts and no gravy powder. And it will be an absolute disaster. And then you'll have to queue to get into the Asda at the Jewel to get those items. And then queue to get out again, okay? Maybe that will be the darkness of your Christmas. But you know, I think if we were really honest, we all know what darkness means. Whether that's something personally, a challenge that we're facing, an illness that we're having to grapple with, a situation in our lives, or perhaps just even looking bigger picture around the world. I don't know about you, but I look around and I see the poor oppressed. I see war, I see famine, I see this rise of racism, other evils that mark our planet. And that's darkness. I think we have to name that for what it is. But to ordinary people facing that reality just like us, Isaiah writes these words. The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of deep darkness, a light has dawned. And the image is of this incredible sunrise. One of those East Lothian stunners. How many of you seen an absolutely stunning East Lothian sunrise? Yeah? Probably quite a few of us. Or a sunset. I mean, they're both great. Yeah, I can't really choose between them. And you know the kind that like slowly rises on the horizon and just fills the whole world with warmth and light. What is this light? Who is this light? The passage says, to us a child is given, a baby, just a baby. And this is the good news of great joy. And spoiler alert, in fact, the biggest spoiler since Lewis and Katja went out of Strictly last week, which I'm devastated about. That's a whole other talk for another time. But the spoiler alert is this baby has a name. And his name is Jesus. His name is Jesus. And this is the miracle of Christmas. And for those of us who follow Jesus, this is the foundation of our faith. 2,000 years ago, into the darkness, into the suffering, into the weary brokenness of the world, God sent his Son to live amongst us, to be with us. And we call him Emmanuel, which Elohim so brilliantly read means God with us. Now, for most of us, Christmas is giving quite cozy vibes, okay? Please, would you all confess, give me a wave if you have any form of matching pajamas in your house. Okay, there's some of you that are not owning up right now, and I'm very disappointed. Okay, there were a few hands. And maybe if you've not got matching pajamas, there's still time. But in other ways, maybe there's cozy Christmas vibes in your house. Maybe your presents are wrapped. Anyone presents are wrapped? Oh my goodness, Kim. Who even are you? Maybe Michael Bublé is playing in your kitchen. Yes? A few nods. Okay, I'll give you that, Hannah. This year, in fact, for the first time in 16 years of marriage, my husband, Tom Montgomery, let me get a real Christmas tree. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. It was a big moment in our marriage. And I have loved it. I love Christmas. I love all of that stuff. I love all the coziness. And my house is basically sort of patched together with fairy lights at this point in December. I love it. But did you know that the original Christmas story was not cozy at all? At all. This is the story that Isaiah was pointing towards. And this story reads a lot like current headlines in newspapers all over the world. The story opens with a tyrant on a throne, in charge with all the power, and the poor, the vulnerable, oppressed and frightened. This is the darkness that we were talking about earlier. Mary and Joseph are forced to register their existence in another state, and their baby is born homeless on the floor of a home, stacked with other migrants, placed for safety, probably in a depression on the floor where the straw was. That's the word that we now use for manger. So he didn't get rolled on in the night. It probably looked a lot more like this, muddy, dirty, noisy, than this. Next slide, please. Which is what we've often made the Christmas story to be, haven't we? And I think that tells us something about God, about who God is. It tells me that God shows up on the margins, not in the halls of power. That he shows up in the places of darkness, at the points where we need him, not where we already have it all together and we have the resources to look after ourselves. God isn't afraid, I think, if it's okay to tell you this. I don't think he's afraid of our mess, of our grief, of our pain. God comes as a baby, just a baby. And this passage in Isaiah goes on to say about this baby, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. And it's a huge statement. For those of us who read that as being about Jesus, it's an outlandish claim, like it's slightly ridiculous. This baby, this Christ child, this refugee infant born to Palestinian parents 2,000 years ago is in some way mighty God. That's incredible. A Prince of Peace for a world that has never more needed a Prince of Peace. And if you have never considered the possibility that there might be something in this story that rings true, then I just, if it's okay, wanted to really gently invite you. Might that be something you would like to consider in 2026? To investigate this Christmas baby. You might find more than you bargained for. And so tonight, with the carols and the excellent readings and the mince pies, where does this Christmas story leave us? Us ordinary people. Well, I'm one of those ordinary people anyway. I am. Thank you, Charlie. To us, just as to the people in the original story, God gives us his light. And so for some of us, maybe that's the everlasting Father making a way where it feels like there's no way. Maybe for some of us, that's the Prince of Peace moving in love and grace towards the grieving and the anxious. And maybe for some of us, it's the wonderful counselor caring for us, advocating and caring for the broken and the needy and inviting us to do the same. And that's the good news of great joy. If you don't have it all together this Christmas, he has it all together for you. And so I want to finish with the final words of the poem that Kelly so beautifully wrote and read for us earlier. Heaven birthed to earth's delight, a cry soft and light. A cry has fractured dark with light. Amen.